For the past several years, D&D Beyond has been a big part of the D&D 5th edition landscape. It's the leading digital tool for us as players and DMs to make and manage characters. Now, I haven't really talked about it before on this channel because it's popular enough. It doesn't really need to be reviewed by somebody like me at this point. However, today some big news broke, and I figured it's worth sharing and talking about. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the big news in D&D Beyond. Let's get into it. Hello everybody, I'm Joe, and this is the DM Toolbox, your go-to place to get all the tools you need to enhance your D&D games. Today is going to be a little bit of a different episode. Normally, I do reviews or show you guys some cool tools that I found and want to share with you. But I wanted to talk a bit about some big news in the D&D community. Now, I'm recording this on Wednesday. You're probably seeing this on Thursday or later. But on Wednesday, April 13th, some news broke about D&D Beyond. It is being acquired by Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What does this mean for the tool? Well, right now it's all speculation, right? I'm sure you have already talked about this in Facebook groups and Discord groups and Reddit and all sorts of places, and a lot of people have opinions. So I'm going to be speculating a little today. I'm going to be sharing my opinions with you and why I think what I do. And let me know what you guys think about this acquisition in the comments. So they bought it. Now, there has been a lot of talk since the announcement of the next generation or the next iteration of D&D 5th edition. So are we going to get a 6th edition? Is it going to be D&D 5.5? What's it all going to look like? How is it going to affect things? A lot of talk about, the SRD and the license, the open license agreement, for publishers and stuff like that. What does all this mean? They also talked about bringing us new D&D content in new formats. And, we kind of speculated a lot that was going to be some kind of digital format. And a lot of us wondered, would they make their own tool that would replace D&D Beyond? And if that happens, what happens to everything we bought on D&D Beyond? It would still stay there, but if D&D Beyond couldn't generate new revenue with new products, they would eventually go under, close down the site, and all of our stuff that we paid for would be gone. So in the long run, for us as consumers, this acquisition is a good thing. Back in 4th edition, and I wasn't really into it quite as much back then, but they wanted to make a digital tool, and it didn't do well. So when D&D Beyond came out for 5th edition, this was a chance for Wizards of the Coast to basically make money by licensing their products to fandom to make D&D Beyond and let them develop the tool and take the risk and see how it goes. And it did really well. So this is the next kind of logical step. To me, if I was running Wizards of the Coast, I would outsource that development. This is pretty much what they did, is they outsourced this development, let them run with it for a few years, very successful. Okay, let's acquire it now. And it's ours. So Wizards of the Coast has done that. They've brought it in-house, and all of our stuff is safe. Not only that, it's future-proof, because now when the next iteration of D&D does come out, when 5.5 or whatever that next version is going to be does come out, we'll have it on D&D Beyond. The rule sets will be updated, all this stuff. So this is a good thing for us as consumers. Now, what will change? Well, let's take a look at the official announcement from Wizards of the Coast that they kind of put out. Now, this is off the D&D website. This isn't the full press release, but I'm going to read to you what they kind of posted on the D&D site today. Dungeons & Dragons levels up by acquiring the popular digital tool set. Dungeons & Dragons and D&D Beyond have always felt like part of the same family. That's why we're excited to welcome everyone at D&D Beyond to formally join us at Wizards of the Coast, bringing together two teams dedicated to continuing to make Dungeons & Dragons easy to run and accessible to all. It's amazing what DnD Beyond has accomplished since its humble beginnings in 2017. And the D&D team has truly leveled up with its acquisition. With over 10 million users, millions of characters created, millions of campaigns played, the team of 80 passionate creators across the US and Europe have brought so much joy to D&D players around the world, including helping friends and family come together to play through a global pandemic. You're probably wondering what kind of change might happen as a result of these two teams coming together. So let me make this clear. We have no plans to stop supporting D&D Beyond. The purchases you've made, the characters you've created, and the campaigns you run aren't going anywhere. This is an exciting time for all of us, and growing our team means great things to come. If there's one thing the D&D and D&D Beyond teams have in common, it's a desire to continue making your experience playing the world's greatest role-playing game even better. We'll have more to share with you later this year, so hone those perception checks and warm up your dice, digital and otherwise. In the meantime, join us in giving a hearty welcome to D&D Beyond into the Dungeons & Dragons family. Welcome to the party, pals. Okay, so not a ton of info there, but the big takeaway is we're not going to change anything. Now, we're not going to change anything for the worse, at least, right? We're not going to take away anything. All your purchases are safe. All your characters are safe. All your stuff that you have is still there. It's going to work. However, what I do see happening now is D&D Beyond has capital, way more capital to work with than they did before. They've got the backing of Hasbro and of Wizards of the Coast. So now what I would think would happen, and I would hope it's going to happen, is they're going to sink some money into it. There are a lot of features in D&D Beyond. For me, one of probably the ones I've wanted the most for the longest is to finish the combat tracker. It's like such a basic tool and such a useful tool for that platform. We can already create the encounters and we can bring them in there, but our players, we can put our players in there, but we don't see their HP. If a player takes 10 hit points off their character sheet, we don't see that. We have to, as DMs, manually track that on top of the player manually tracking that. So if they can finish out that combat tracker tool, that'd be cool. But there's a lot of other features that they could definitely flesh out and make better, right? So I hope to see the product grow and become better. Maybe we'll start seeing UA content again. Maybe we'll get, I don't know. One thing I was hoping for, what I think would be really cool, is, if they really want to push forward as this being the main digital platform, right? Will they go VTT? I don't know. A lot of people seem to think they will. I don't know if they're going to want to set up a platform that competes with the likes of Foundry and Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds and Shard and all those, right? Because they're out there. They have big user bases. They're well established. They do really good. But I do think that they can expand on what they are doing, right? Make maps a thing. And maybe some basic fog of war and some tokens that we can move around that are connected to our sheets. I would say like a low-level basic VTT. A lot of people nowadays play around a physical table, but put a TV down or have a TV built into the table or something like that for digital maps. If that was all controlled through D&D Beyond, with all my players sitting around with their D&D Beyond character sheets, and I can just show that map to them and open up some Fog of War basic stuff, play with physical minis right on that TV, that'd be more than enough for me, because there's already other tools that do the other stuff that I need. It would be nice to have everything in one tool, but you have to make it different. And is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? I don't know. I feel like VTTs are always a gamble. There's so much variety out there on it right now that some are great, some are not. So, do you want feature rich? Do you want feature light? Everybody wants something different. I talked to friends today who are like, the likes of Roll20 and Foundry and Fantasy Grounds, they're hard to figure out. Like, you can't just jump in and use it within seconds. They're like, I like Owlbear Rodeo because I can just jump in and use it. It's super intuitive, it's quick, but it's very feature light, so it doesn't do a lot, right? So what do we want out of that? I don't know. So I'm curious to see what direction they go. But what I would like to see them do is maybe open up D&D Beyond to third-party publishers. how cool would it be to see Cobalt Press, AAW, Nord, Frog God, all these companies that, you see me do reviews on their books and stuff, and all these other third-party publishers out there, to be able to put their campaigns, their adventures, their monsters, their items, their spells into DnD Beyond and sell it on the marketplace so that we as the consumers can just buy it and it's there. We don't have to sit there and homebrew it. Another thing that I think would be great is if they improved their homebrewing tool. Like, I can create stuff in DnD Beyond, but it's a nightmare, man. I do not enjoy the experience of inputting stuff into DnD Beyond. It's way easier to input into things like Foundry. So I would like to see something happen there. So if they can make easier access to input our stuff and then give the ability for third-party content creators to, create and sell their content on DnD Beyond, I think that'd be a huge win for everybody. So that's what I'm hoping to see. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. I'm guessing, I'm speculating. Tell me what you guys think. What do you think Wizards of the Coast is going to do with DnD Beyond now? Do you think it's going to be a VTT? Do you think they might open up to third parties? Do you think they'll improve what they have and improve the current features first before moving on to other stuff? I'm curious, to what everybody else thinks about this, because this is a fairly big topic. And like I said, I don't normally cover stuff like this on my channel. I'm not the news guy, but DnD Beyond is a tool, and I do want to focus on tools. And I'm curious about the evolution of one of the biggest D&D tools and what that's going to look like now that it's been purchased. So let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe when I do my next live, we can talk about it some more and actually get a little chatting going on. But check back, let me know. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you like the content. And don't forget, I do have another giveaway coming up when we hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to be giving away a copy of Spectacular Settlements from Nord Games. So this awesome book, I've done a video on it before. I will put a link to it up above and maybe down in the comments. You can check it out. It is a great book from Nord, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway of that and probably a couple of their crit decks. So make sure you're subscribed so you can get notified when we're doing the contest. It's going to be when we hit 1,000 subs. But, rules, all that stuff, announcements, make sure you follow me. All right? So that's it for today, guys. And until next time, roll those dice.